Hey everybody, Tyler with Meeple Mountain here, bringing you another board game review, this time from our friends at Barrel Aged Games. We've gotten our hands on an advanced copy of Fortify, which is going to be a two-player game coming to Kickstarter very soon. This merges dice chucking and Tetris-like puzzle mechanics and can add in a fun timed speed mechanic as well. There's a lot in this small box that I think you'll enjoy, so let's go ahead and get to the table and jump in and learn how to play and show you a little bit of what you can expect to find in this exciting box. Welcome to the land of Fortify. Here in this exciting two-player board game, you and an opponent will get to live out your summer fantasy of a glorious water balloon fight between two neighbors. You're going to take on the role of a neighbor kid, setting up your fort with cardboard boxes and water balloons ready, attempting to defeat your neighbor by getting 3 direct hits on their fortress with your battle die. This game is played over a series of rounds in which you and your opponent will be collecting fort cards that they will then be speedily trying to attach to their base in whatever orientation works best for you and your team to try and build these really nice sections of your fort that you'll be able to add additional helpers and neighbor kids to so that you can overcome your opponent. As you create and lay these tiles, you'll be looking and considering their color, orientation, and opportunities to lay additional pieces into your fort so that you can add and invite additional neighbors over to join you. You can add box builder friends who can come and join you in your fight, who will give you additional cards for future rounds if they're still enclosed with cards. This will give you more options and allow you to build your fort more rapidly than your opponent on all of the various sides of your yard. You can also, instead of opting for small builders that will help you with their fort, you can add the larger water balloon thrower neighbor kids who will also help you by giving you additional battle dice that you will roll as you attempt to hit your neighbor's fort. Turns and rounds will continue like this, with each player throwing and rolling a number of dice equal to the number of water balloons they would throw, 1 free for yourself and 1 for every neighbor kid, the water balloon thrower that you've invited to your fort. You'll roll those dice and attempt to get direct hits on your opponent. Every unblocked direct hit that goes to your opponent will add a splash marker, and whenever a player gets their 3rd direct hit on their opponent, the game is over and you have won. Games play very quickly in about 15 to 20 minutes and have some really exciting elements that you can add, which adds speed to your game as well, because the first player who completes this round and the dice rolling round of the game will actually get an additional die that they'll be able to claim by collecting these small cousin and jerk tokens that will give you additional special die that you can roll as well. Let's talk a little bit more in detail about each of the aspects and rounds of the game to help flesh out what you can expect to find. As we mentioned earlier in the video, you're going to start every round in a game of Fortify by drawing 4 of these box cards. That is what you'll use to add on to your fort on these 3 directions. You can attach your pieces however you like, assuming that an edge connects to something. So if I wanted to connect like this, I could, and I could build out something like this, or however I want to go, but the edges must connect, and you're trying to create enclosed areas where you can invite neighbor kids too. So again, with these particular cards, I might want to do something like this in order to get a section opened up so that I could invite some friends over. So if I did something like this, I would have a 1 square spot in which I could invite a box builder. And we talked about this a little bit in the opening piece, but to clarify this a little more, you need to have enclosed areas at the end of the round. So starting next round, if this was still enclosed, this box builder would let me draw not 4, but 5 of these cards. So I have more options as I build, which means I can build more spaces and hopefully invite more people to my fort. Something to note about the colors, though, is if you have sections that are connected with the same color for any reason, and your opponent locks in or rolls a hit of that color, he can choose to allocate that hit to take out all of the connected box pieces. So a big part of your strategy would be making sure you have different colored pieces connected so as to minimize the damage to your fort if you do take a hit of that color. Another thing that players can do with hits is also allocate them to persons directly, so you'll want to be careful to make sure those individuals don't get splashed and then just take up space in your fort instead of being useful and helpful to your cause. In each section of a round of Fortify, you can, if you want to, add in a speed-based element to the game, which makes things more exciting and more stressful, which is always potentially a fun thing. As you go through the rounds of the game and you get your 4 cards, they're going to be face down, and you're only going to be able to look at the top card that you want to place. Now, you can choose in the building round to put this at the bottom of your pile and look at the next card, and you could continue to do this, and then you could eventually know what all your cards are and try to plan your best strategy. But the player who builds their 4 pieces to their fort first will be able to claim this cousin token, and they will take it and set it aside. The cousin token will give you this special die in the water balloon phase, the water fight phase, that will give you a face that hits on each of the particular colors, as well as these block umbrella symbols that allows you to block a hit, which can be really important if you're trying to protect your main fort area, which is the wild or direct hit symbol. Similarly, when you move into the water balloon phase, there's someone that you can claim. We'll talk about that in just a second. When you move to the water balloon throwing phase, you will tally up the number of balloons you can throw, which is 1 free for each of your main characters, you in the game, and then 1 for each of the water balloon kids that you have been able to invite to your area by, again, creating a section of 2 or more open squares that you've enclosed with the fort cards that you've been building. You'll tally up that complete number of die, and you'll begin to roll those die. These dice also have a hit for each base color, a direct hit, and a block token. You'll be able to roll those dice and decide if you want to lock in or re-roll any of the dice that you have. You can lock in your direct hits, your blocks, and I could choose to continue to re-roll this dice until I get a thing that I want. The trade-off is, again, if I'm the first person to roll all my dice and lock things in, I can claim this jerk token, which will allow me at the end of combat to roll the jerks dice, which gives me 2 chances at a direct hit, which can be a great catch-up mechanic in the game, but can also be a huge edge if things are close, because it's a much more likely chance that I'll be able to get a direct hit. So let's just say, hypothetically, this was the lay of the land. We'll change this guy to green just for fun, assuming these guys are boxed in. Here we have a direct hit that would go directly to the character, giving them a splash token. They're 1/3 of the way to defeat now. This direct hit that we have now over on this side would be attempted to be sent here, but could be blocked with this umbrella token that this player rolled. Then finally we have a green and a red water balloon. Now those can never hit the main thing. They're never going to give you a direct hit, but they can slow your opponent down and mess up their plans. Here I have a green water balloon that I could throw at one of these water balloon throwers and reduce the number of dice this player would get for the future. This character is splashed, they take up space, and they also don't contribute dice. And in this case, if there was nothing to be hit with red, it would just be a wash. It would be a waste. Perhaps there were some box pieces there that were connected that you could remove with this. Once that's done, you'll clear your dice off and we'll continue into another round of building your fort with fort cards, assuming based on the number of cards that you would draw, starting at 4 and then adding 1 for each of the little Fortify kids that you're able to add to your base as well. Rounds will continue like this, back and forth, with you building your base, competing to get the cousin token if you're the quickest, then moving to dice rolling, again competing to see who is the quickest to get the jerk token, and going like this until someone has collected 3 splash tokens on their main fort. Whoever gets those 3 first is unfortunately defeated in the neighborhood water balloon fight, and the other player is victorious. And that, in a nutshell, is everything you need to know about what's inside the box and how to play and enjoy Fortify. I hope you enjoyed getting a quick look at this game and what's to be expected and what you can look forward to in the Kickstarter coming very soon from Barrel Age Games. But I'd like to share just a little bit of my thoughts with it as well. Again, my personal take. I was really excited when we got an advanced copy of this game. It is worth adding that, as you noted, everything is an advanced copy. These are not final. The board is not final. All of the printed pieces and the cards are not final, so they're going to continue to elevate that production value. But I really enjoyed what I saw here. I was excited and kind of taken away right away with the art style of this game. I really loved the art. Kind of has that nostalgic Cartoon Network show, Kids Next Door kind of feel, where you're making this larger-than-life water balloon cardboard fortress and having this knockdown drag out fight with your neighbor. It's just a fun blown out summer dream kind of feel, and it's really fun. The theme is engaging and the mechanics are solid. You're pairing up the puzzling aspect with the dice rolling aspect in a really fun and meaningful way. It's not complicated, it's not hard, but it is made competitive by the timed aspect where you are having to compete with your opponent to get done as quick as possible to get those extra dice from the cousin and the jerk tokens as you run through the rounds. It's nice that you can re-roll dice and redo things and really search and think, and that maybe is a playstyle you want to try, but there are times when you need to not be the best but the fastest to get those extra dice, and that's a really fun kind of catch-up mechanic of like, I can take my time, really think through this turn, or I can rush to try and get that bonus dice, and that weighing and the kind of tightrope walk that you have to do is really fun in this game, and it pushes the needle on the timer, which makes sure that this game runs at 15 to 20 minutes a round, which is great. It's a good filler. It's really fun. I've said this before, I'll say it again. The thing I like about two-player games is that any discrepancies in balance comes out really, really quickly, and the great thing about this game is it doesn't have that because there's not asymmetric abilities. There's nothing crazy that could make this game get lopsided. It's just laying cards out, trying to make openings for your balloon throwers and Fortify kids, and then rolling dice and having a good time. It's a really fun, lightly luck-based, but very enjoyable and mitigatable luck-based game. So I'd say if you're looking for and in the market for a new two-player game that just is a bit different, has a cool theme, mashes some cool mechanics together, I'd encourage you to check out Fortify. It's coming to Kickstarter very soon, and I think it's one that you guys might really enjoy. I know it's one that I had a blast with and I'm excited to see the final produced copy, but I know it's going to be a good time. So I want to thank you guys for coming to Meeple Mountain for your board game related needs. I hope you'll continue to do so. If you like what we're putting out and want to see more, we'd ask that you guys subscribe, hit that little bell, and get notified as we're putting out more content all the time. But yeah, I want to say thanks again for checking us out. I hope you liked this video, and as always, happy gaming.
Thanks for checking out this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out these links to find some other games you might want to bring to the table. This is Tyler Williams, signing off.